Okay, so I've decided to wrap this after all, just because it's really cold out today. You can see, maybe you can't, there's snow everywhere, and the house isn't particularly warm. So this is what it looks like. It looks like a big tea cozy. Just wrapped it with 2 towels. You can see some of the wort is actually coming through the towels, stuff that soaked out. Also, another thing to know is that I've cleaned this up immediately. I like to clean up as I go, that's just the way I am. But from a practical perspective, it really helps to make sure that if you can, while this mashes, that you do clean, because when you start to boil this, if it burns onto your stove or porch or wherever you're burning it, it just makes a mess. It's just harder to clean. It's a lot easier to clean when it's really watery. So that's it for now. We've been mashing for an hour. So I've just uncovered the brew kettle. Throw my thermometer in there. Turn the lights off so you can see a little bit better. See what the temperature is. I've got the gas back on. I'm going to move towards mash out now, so we can get to 168 degrees Fahrenheit, just to stop the conversion to starches here. And then we're going to actually pull the grains out. So once we get to 168, we're going to shut this down, tie a knot in the bag, and pull all our grains out, slowly let the water drip back in without getting too aerated. When I pulled the cover off, we were at a temperature of 151 degrees. It looks like we're slowly climbing back up to there, so really didn't lose a whole lot of heat as this whole process happened. I've tied the bag up a little bit just to stop any excess grain falling out of it into my wort. Now, as you can see, I've just got the temperature coming back up to 168 degrees for a mash out. The mash out isn't 100% necessary. A lot of people don't do it. It really increases the efficiency of your sugar extraction from the grain. Especially when you're doing brew in a bag and you're not sparging, the mash out really makes a big difference, so it's highly recommended. So we can see that the temperature of the kettle is rising pretty quickly now. When it hits 168, I'm going to turn the gas off and take the grain wheel out. It's in a big bag. See if I can get Melissa to film me doing that. And then I'm going to get as much of it to drip out as I can into the kettle, just really slowly. And then I'm going to place the grain bag in here in a fermenter bucket that I have, just for the rest of the water to run out of it. And then I'm going to put that wort back into the brew kettle, because that's really good wort, and it's a shame to lose it. So we've got 3 more degrees to go, and I'm going to turn this off and get Melissa to start filming me. Okay, so we've got to 168, I've got the gas off. 168, remember, is the mash out temperature. It stops the grain conversion. It also increases our efficiency. I'm going to turn this off for now. This is the tricky part. This is where you make most of the mess when you use this methodology. You're going to pull out the grain, which is really heavy and really hot. So the best way to do this is slowly. Make sure you're well braced up against something so you don't hurt your back. And then, I don't know if you can hear it dripping in the background, but I've got a lot of that water dripping out. I'm actually going to move that over to here, into my fermenter bucket. Oops. In 1 second, it's actually dripping out a lot faster than I thought it was. There's a lot of really good wort in there, and you want to keep that. It's actually getting lighter. This is a real good test of your triceps. Alright, so actually I'm going to get Melissa to hold the bucket up so I don't make too much of a mess. Put it up. There we go. And there we go. And she's in. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift up the grain, so it's just a little bit above the floor of the bucket, and turn the heat back on, because we're now ready to go into our boil. So I'm kind of doing 2 things at once. I'm letting the grain that's left over from the boil drip off. This is instead of a sparge, remember, so this is a sparge-free brew. As it drips, I'm collecting the wort in the bottom of the fermenter bucket. This is some of the richest wort you have, so it's a real shame to lose it. Just got to be careful so not to burn yourself though when you do this, because it's really hot. And while I'm doing that, I'm also bringing the kettle up to boil. When it hits the boil, I'm going to throw in my hops, boil as normal, and then I'm going to get my cold break with my wort chiller, and we're ready to ferment. So that's really all there is. From here on out, it's pretty much business as usual. When we're done collecting the remaining wort, I'm going to take what's left in my grain bill. I'm going to get rid of it, throw it out in the backyard in the compost heap. It's really, really good. Find all the rabbits in the neighborhood come here. Try to keep my dog out of there because my dog loves it. And that's it. That's brew in a bag for you. Take the bag, throw it in, hose it off, throw it in the laundry machine if you want. I don't need to. And then we're done. So that's it. We'll film the rest of the stages just so you can see how the rest of the brew works. But that's the brew in a bag method. And that's it. So it's not boiling quite yet, but I wanted to take a picture here and show you. This is what the hot break looks like. Start seeing a bunch of stuff floating to the top. Means it's pretty close to the boil. You can actually see things start to froth up. So I will start my timer in about 2-3 minutes for my boil and throw my initial hops in. We're going to lose a lot of wort throughout the process of the boil. So I'm going to try keeping this as covered as I can. But this hot break is good. It's all proteins coming out of solution that we don't want in our beer. They cause all kinds of off flavors during fermentation. And so that's good. And after that, we're going to have a couple more breaks. We're going to have a cold break when we're done to drop everything out of solution. That's what my wort chiller is for. Before I throw the hops in, I'm going to set the timer. The boil for this, as per my recipe, is 60 minutes. So I'm going to set this to a 60-minute boil and get those hops in there. So we've started the boil. I'm going to add my first hops addition. It's 2 ounces of Fuggles hops. So it's 2 of these packets. I'm going to throw them in and see what happens. So I've got 1 ounce of hops in. I'm going to throw another ounce in. Well, you can't smell it, but there's a beautiful smell of hops in the kitchen. You can see the hops have gotten in. I'm actually going to leave the brew uncovered now. The reason I'm going to do that is now that I've gotten up to boiling, the vapors that are coming off have a lot of the stuff that you don't want in your beer in them. So it's better to let them evaporate off. Before, when it wasn't really evaporating that much and I wanted to get up to a boil a little bit quicker, I left the pot cover on. But going forward, it's a better idea to just leave it off so that as much as you can of the stuff you don't want in your brew evaporates. We've got the wort chiller in here. It's been in here for the last 10 minutes of the boil. I had to sterilize it. Actually ended up running the hose through the window, even though it's cold out, because I figured that the 10 minutes it would take to chill the wort from 212 degrees won't do any damage outside. What's going to happen is the water comes in through here. It's a very simple heat exchanger. The cold water comes in, gets heated up. Oh, there's my clock. So turn the gas off. Cold water comes in, exchanges heat with the wort, chills the wort, and comes out here as hot water. This is in the sink. When that's done, we're actually just going to drain everything out of here into the fermenter, which I have ready, and then we're done. We're ready to pitch our yeast. So let's get started. So turns out that the faucets freeze when it's minus 15 Celsius outside, and we couldn't get the garden hose working. I have an adapter that would actually hook the garden hose up to our faucet here in the kitchen. However, due to the type of faucet we have here, that won't fit into here. It's a very decorative faucet. So we're holding it in place. My hands are a little bit cold, but the temperature is dropping very, very fast. When we started out with this, I couldn't hold my hand underneath the output, and now it's not really warming me up at all. So within the next 5-6 minutes, we should probably be able to get this out of there and into the fermenter. So how about that?